One of America's most famous inmates, OJ Simpson, could soon walk free after he appears before a Nevada parole board this afternoon for charges stemming from a 2007 armed robbery. Once one of the most well-known running backs in football history, OJ Simpson's life changed forever on June 12, 1994. On that day, Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman were found stabbed to death at her home. Simpson was charged with the murders, but acquitted of all criminal charges in a televised case that was dubbed the trial of the century. Fast forward to 2007, Simpson and several accomplices broke into a Las Vegas hotel room, stealing sports memorabilia at gunpoint. 1 year later, on October 3, 2008, Simpson was found guilty on all 12 counts against him, including armed robbery and kidnapping. He was given a 33-year sentence, eligible for parole after serving 9 years. In 2013, Simpson won parole for 5 of the 12 counts, and today, the 4-member Nevada Parole Board will determine whether he will be granted parole on all charges or have to wait for another hearing. Joining us now from New York is criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor David Schwartz. Thanks for being here, David.
Good morning, Ben.
So what will today's parole hearing look like, and what will board members be expecting from Simpson?
Well, first of all, O.J. Simpson won't be present in front of the parole board. He'll be at a satellite at the jail, being fed in by satellite. So the parole board is going to be consisting of 4 members. It's going to be the same 4 members that granted him parole on the lesser charges 5 years ago. And so they're going to make the same types of assessment against O.J.
Those in the know, are they saying that he is likely to obtain parole? And if so, how long until he walks free?
Well, you know, if we were going to take odds here, the odds are that he will be paroled. I think most people feel he will be paroled for a number of reasons. First of all, his risk assessment level in the last parole hearing was a 3, which is a very low risk that he'll commit other crimes when he gets out of jail. I think his good behavior in jail works in his favor, and also his age. He's 70 years old. And obviously, when you're older, you're less likely to commit other crimes. However, you have to juxtapose that against the fact that he's up for parole for the first time, and many people don't get granted parole in the very first time. He's at the minimum right now, which is the 9 years.
So he's at that minimum, which would be maybe a knock against him. What else is working against him in this hearing?
Well, certainly there are the overtones of what many believe is a murder that he got away with. Now, that is not supposed to play a role in this parole hearing. This parole hearing is supposed to be limited to just the armed robbery and the kidnapping case that he's been sentenced for. However, there are overtones there. There's the Goldman family, and the parole board can consider a wide variety of factors, including prior bad acts. But technically, they're supposed to keep that out. But most people feel the sentencing judge in the armed robbery case, took that into consideration when issuing her sentence.
Well, that's another interesting point that you bring up. The Goldman family have always been outspoken and passionate in their condemnation of O.J. Simpson. Have they been bringing any pressure in this situation to keep him in prison as long as possible?
Yes, certainly they're trying to keep him in prison as long as possible. They are putting pressure. They have written letters, I believe. And certainly there's the civil liability. Don't forget about the civil liability. So although he was exonerated in the criminal case, he was found civilly liable for the death of Nicole Brown Simpson. So for the wrongful death. So that also could be taken into consideration. And certainly they plan on pursuing the damages claim when O.J. does get out of jail eventually.
David, one last question for you. When someone is released on parole, they're not free as a bird. What sort of conditions could be placed on his liberty if he is to walk out of prison?
Right. There are conditions of parole. So certainly you have to live a law-abiding life. You have to check in with your parole officer every single month. There are sometimes travel restrictions. You have to get permission to travel. Many times there's certainly no drinking alcohol. They do sometimes they do drug testing. So you're still being watched, and you're still being watched by a parole officer.
Well, David, the long and complicated, controversial life of OJ Simpson is about to write another chapter. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Very, very controversial. Take care, Ben. Thank you.